Hello again and welcome everyone to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, so grateful to have you along for the show with me. We're going to begin the show with a little controversy that came through an email from one of our listeners last week. We'll get to that in 1 second. If you're not familiar with the show, What's Working is the radio show / podcast designed to bring you workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends. Try to find the guests that can talk about these trends in such a way that we can learn from them, we can apply them to our world around us, and it'll make each of us a little bit better, whatever it is that we do. So the electronic vehicle batteries was the show that we had that generated the controversy, and the guests were from TerraPower. The guests essentially said electronic vehicle batteries are better for the environment than gasoline-driven engines. And they went into the manufacture and the remanufacture, which was their expertise, of EV batteries. And again, their bottom line, EV batteries are better for the environment than combustion engines. And a listener reached out and said, but what we didn't talk about in that show is the fact that it takes, let's say, a natural gas or coal-fired power plant to charge those batteries. So you may say these batteries are better for the environment, but when you add what it takes to charge them, the net bottom line is that they're worse for the environment. So I admitted I hadn't considered that part of the argument, but I forwarded his email to the folks over at TerraPower and said, hey, can you come back with this? And do you have any feedback for me on this? This listener is asserting that the manufacture of an EV battery plus the toll it takes or the energy it takes to charge that battery in net is worse for the environment than a combustion engine battery. And up for the challenge, the groups of engineers at TerraPower and BBB Industries responded by saying, here's what we got, Cam. And they sent me, and I love engineers. Good Lord knows our world has changed for the better due to engineers. But they sent me a graph. How do you use a graph on the radio? But they sent me a graph, and what I'm going to try to do is interpret the graph here as well as the explanations they say. And bottom line, if you buy an EV car and drive it for 2 years, it's in that second year that the environmental benefits of an electronic vehicle car outweigh the environmental benefits of an internal combustion car. In other words, it takes 2 years. And that includes the manufacture of the battery as well as the charging of the batteries by the local power when you plug it in, that net, it does become more beneficial for the environment. And again, the graph that they sent me shows the benefits of the EV vehicle in green, of course, on one line, and then crossing over that line and going up is the traditional car, ICE, internal combustion engine vehicle. And we see that it shows more CO2 emissions, but it takes 2 years for that benefit to gain. They also sent me the link to the electronic vehicle myths that comes from, where does this come from? It comes from the U.S. government somewhere, the EPA. And it lists 7 EV vehicle myths that the EVA debunks. Myth number 1, electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gasoline cars because of power plant emissions. And it goes through this debunking that myth. Myth number 2, electric vehicles are worse for the climate than gasoline cars because of battery manufacturing. Again, debunks. Number 3, the increase in electric vehicles entering the market will collapse the U.S. power grid. Lots of this stuff. There's a total of 7 myths that they debunk, and I'm grateful for the listeners to reaching out. According to the experts we had on the show last week, or a few weeks ago rather, the EV car after 2 years does become better for the environment than the car that most of us drive, at least around here. What we got upcoming on this show. I met 2 guys that are trying to get into the NFL. They had stellar collegiate careers, and they are putting themselves through the paces. There is no bigger trend in our nation right now than the NFL, and we're going to meet them when we come back from this break and hear their path, and I think ultimately start cheering for them. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We'll be right back.
This is Seth Cherniak, Vice President of Branch Development for the Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group. If you're an experienced financial advisor wanting the freedom of independence but aren't sure making that jump is right for you, we should talk. Jeffrey Matthews has developed a successful program for advisors who don't want to be 1099 contractors and don't want to pay for their own overhead. We're looking for advisors who want the freedom to run their business the way they see fit with the support that comes with a W-2 firm. If you're interested in joining one of our branches, or if you want to open your own branch as a full-time employee, let's chat. Our compensation plan is one of the most competitive among all W-2 firms, big or small. Reach out to us today at jeffreymatthews.com, connect with me, Seth Cherniak, on LinkedIn, or click the link in the podcast.
Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group, member FINRA, SIPC. We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston, and we got a really special show for you today. I think every kid out there that's ever watched television, particularly the boys, has wanted to play in the NFL. Certainly I have. It didn't take me long to realize that the NFL wasn't my future. I don't have the speed, the athletic, the hand-eye coordination, everything. The best I can do is buy a ticket. But I'm sitting with two guys here who have aspirations for the NFL with the talent to do it. And we're going to talk about their challenge, their path, their journey, what it's been like so far, and most importantly, what comes next. Let me introduce to you first Chancellor Moody. He's 22 years old, sitting here to my right. Chancellor, say hello if you don't mind.
What's up, everybody?
And across from me is Timaje Porter. Timaje just graduated from Delta State. Timaje, how about a hello from you too?
What's up, everybody?
Timaje, let's begin with you. Tell me about your football career. I know it was at Delta State. Tell me what got you into it as a kid, and what makes you think the NFL could be a part of your future?
I started playing at the age of 4. Warren Sapp, he played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the time. He was one of my biggest inspirations. And my big brother, actually, he's 2 years older than me. He started playing when he was 4. So just going to the ballpark and watching him play, seeing my dad get excited to see Warren Sapp on TV, it just kind of started the whole process. It lit a fire inside of me at a very young age. And I remember my first practice, just going out and making contact with someone. And I thought, like, this is kind of fun. I don't get in trouble for hitting somebody. And I was a beast. I mean, all through park ball and middle school, high school, everybody just, telling me, feeding to me, man, you got the abilities to do something special. And just hearing that all the time, you start to believe it once you see that, it's within reach that you can get a collegiate offer, let alone 30, 40 collegiate offers with, that's what I was blessed to be able to have. And yeah, man, just throughout college, hearing my name called in the stands, from the PA announcers, happening every week, continually making plays every season, getting better and better. Just kind of let me know, like, I'm on the right path, I'm on the right track.
Chancellor, your story, and Timaje, you've told me some wonderful things that I want to get into later in the show about what it's like in the moment on the field, which just I think is wonderful. People are going to want to hear that. We'll tease that for the future. Chancellor, tell me a little bit about your path.
Yes, sir. I had a really good heart for football since I was 5, just playing pick it up, get busted in elementary school, and just watching my cousin DeMarcus, just watching him play football, and my other family members really, and just everybody telling me I got the talent to do this and the smartness and all that. Just
so you've not yet left the college career.
No,
you're at South or starting at South.
Yes, sir.
And you'll be on the field in the fall.
Hope that's the plan to be on the field.
The plan to be on the field in the fall.
Yes, sir.
And what is your position? What are you trying out for?
Well, I'm getting trained for be outside linebacker and defensive end.
Yes,
okay,
sir. Outside linebacker and defensive end. And Timaje, you're a D lineman,
tackle.
Right?
Yes, sir.
D tackle. I remember you saying that. Yeah, 2 rugged positions. Chancellor, what makes you think, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but what makes you think you can do it? And we've heard a little bit from Timaje what made him think he can do it. He heard his name, he had offers, etc. Yours is a bit of a different story. What makes you think you can do it? The NFL is very, very elite. What is it that you say, I can be there?
Just the heart and the dog mentality I have, and just the skills I have that come with it. So I just feel like I'm gonna be a perfect dude in the football league.
What are your skills on the field? If I were watching and I knew how to watch a football player, what would I see from you on the field?
You will see a lot of toughness, a lot of speed, a lot of just football IQ, just knowing where to go on the field and where the ball could be.
So you have awareness, you have speed to get there, and you're going to get up after taking a big lick.
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely.
Some tight end is going to come around and have his eye on you. He's going to be trying to make a way for the running back. He's going to lay out, maybe not, but you're going to get up and do it again.
Oh, yeah, he won't get me. I'll get him before he get me.
That's great. Timaje, what are the skills that it takes to be a defensive tackle? In the very short days that I played football, I was a defensive tackle and did a bad job every snap.
Yes, sir.
Every snap. What makes you so good?
First of all, I just have to speak to being a student of the game, just watching film, countless hours, just knowing what your opponent's going to do. And then outside of the mental aspect of it, you just got to be a dog. You got to have the mentality that I'm going to take his will away from him. You know, it's mano y mano, and you know, it's either he's going to beat you or you're going to beat him. And you know, the offensive line, typically the interior, the guards and the centers, they tend to be some of the strongest people on the field. And you know, if you let him embarrass you, like everybody's watching that. Every play starts with the center snapping the ball, so everybody's eyes typically tend to be right there before the quarterback gets the ball. So I take it as if everybody's eyes are on me. So I want the spotlight, I want the shine, I want the limelight, I want the fame, the name calling. I deserve that. That's my mentality when I take the field. And so once I can look in another man's eyes and I know there's no way you're going to defeat me for 4 quarters, I will get the best of you. It's just a matter of time before it happens.
No kidding. You sound like you've got the bit in your teeth. Let's talk about what we would call, in some circles, self-awareness. What are your weaknesses as a defensive tackle? And Chancellor, this question is coming to you too as a linebacker. What are your weaknesses? What are you working on?
I mainly had to work on my weight, and that was a really big issue for me, I think, throughout my high school and the beginning of my collegiate career, because I had to be in shape. And once you get out of shape, you tend to get high. And when you get high coming out of your stance, you know, guys are able to get under you.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Displace you, move you. And if you're not playing low enough and got a low center of gravity, you know, then it tends to get a bit ugly and rugged for you. And that's when you really got to lock in mentally and be like, okay, I'm getting pushed back, you know, 3 or 4 yards when I should be getting penetration. So that was one of my biggest weaknesses. Another one was I really wasn't a good pass rusher. So I didn't have the best hand movement. So most of my pass rushing was just, I would try to run through the guy, and eventually he'll be able to set his weight down, collect me, because just like I'm a big, strong, fast dude, he's a big, strong, fast dude as well. So just being able to get off blocks, shed people, throw them to the side, to be able to have the ability to make a play. That was something I struggled with, but I'll say over the years, you know, through coaching, training, and just watching D-line videos on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere I can find them, I was able to, you know, correct those mistakes.
So if I understand you correctly, when you get out of shape, when anybody that does what you do gets out of shape, they get high, meaning not they gain weight. It means that they come out of their stance more erect than down low. When you come out of your stance down low, you gain the edge. When you come out of the stance high, you lose the edge.
Yes, sir.
And being in shape keeps you down low.
It does a lot for you. Just being able to, if you can run 110s consistently and make times, 110s is you start in the back of the end zone and then you run 110 yards and you probably get 18 seconds if you're a big guy. And if you can do that consistently, you know, you can get yourself in shape through that. And it'll just be able to, you always hear the phrase, the low man wins. that's how you be able to stay low, is staying in shape.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you do when you're going to, Chancellor, we're going to come back to you after the break. We're coming out to break, and I want to hear what your weaknesses are. But since there's just only a couple of seconds before the break, what are you running your 110s in right now, Timaje?
18 seconds.
18.
Yes, sir.
And what is your goal?
18 seconds.
You hit your goal.
Yes, sir.
You don't want to get to 16.
If a big guy like me is making 16 seconds, he's moving. He is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. 16 seconds is typically for the skilled players.
Yeah. Okay. So that 2 seconds is a big difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah. All right. We're coming up to break. I'm sitting in here with Chancellor Moody and Timaje Porter. They both have eyes on the NFL. They're in the process of training for that right now. And folks, as much as we consume the NFL, it would be wonderful to see them on Sunday and say that we knew them win. We'll be back after this break. And Chancellor, you're up on your weaknesses. I'm interested to hear what you may say. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston.
This is Bill Eastet. I perfected my baking recipe behind my live music stage at my little restaurant in Fairhope, Alabama. We have custom-made smokers and small batch bacon made just for you. So if you're looking for the best bacon in America that has been cured, smoked, and even serenaded by songwriters, you definitely need to try Billy's Small Batch Bacon. www.billiesbacon.com.
We're back. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston in the studio today. Sitting across from me is Timaje Porter. He graduated from Delta State not too long ago, has eyes set on the NFL, and sitting to my right is Chancellor Moody. He's beginning his football career at the University of South Alabama, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, with the goal of making it in the NFL. Chancellor, prior to the break, we heard Timaje discussing his weaknesses on the field. When you think about what you need to work on, what are your weaknesses?
Well, I'll be starting all over because in high school I played wide receiver, safety. So, and I had a chance coming fresh out of high school, but I got in a little trouble, messed myself up. So, jumping back into it, Coach D, he felt like I'll be a good fit in another position. So, outside linebacker, I'll be learning a whole new, different environment. Everything will be starting from scratch. So
no kidding. It's not that you have weaknesses that you can look back on your football career on and say, these are things I need to work on. Your weaknesses is that you're learning the position.
A whole new position.
But you got the talent and
yes,
you got
sir.
the skill. And Coach D, DeMarcus Moody,
yes, sir.
knows you well enough to know what you can do.
Yes, sir.
So what are your workouts like these days, Chancellor? I know you guys just came from the gym. What are the paces Coach D is putting you through to prepare you for this role as outside linebacker?
Well, he's putting me through a lot of high velocity workouts. A lot of workouts we're doing are known just for the positions that we're getting ready for. So, a lot of shoulder workouts, a lot of leg workouts, but not just any normal workouts.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to describe right now, but it's a lot of workouts that just for our position itself.
Timaje, what is your workout looking like as a D lineman? Is it similar to Chancellor's?
It's very similar. Most of the things he does, I do. It's just I'm coming from a different position, whereas Chancellor, he's coming from a 2-point position, so he's kind of standing up. Yeah, and he has to be low, to be able to get under the tight end and tackles and things of that nature. Whereas my hands in the ground. So a lot of things we're doing, they're very, very similar. I could do the things he does from his position, and he could do the things I do from my position. It's just a lot of it has to include power. So we're working a lot of hips, a lot of explosion through the heels. And then obviously you want to be strong. You want to have the presentation of, being a physical fit guy. So a lot of it is a lot of bicep, tricep, and core work just to, have the appearance of, hey, I'm a professional or a college football player. This is what you're supposed to look like.
So a lot of it is show. A lot of it is first impression. A lot of it is you walk on the field, whether it be practice or in the game, and the opponent looks at you and says he's capable.
Yes, sir.
He knows what he's doing. Chancellor, how will you know when you're ready? Will Coach D say you're ready, or will you just know you're ready?
Well, I feel like I'm ready right now. But
That's awesome.
I know I got a pretty good long way to go just to be in tip-top shape and be ready for everything that comes with it.
Are you running 110s?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I most definitely run 110s. I ran 110s in high school. Yes, sir.
What is your 110 times?
Well, we never got timed on the 110s, but when I ran track in high school, my 100 meters was like a 10.8, 10.7.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're doing well in that. You're doing the workouts. Let's assume everything goes the way you hope it would. Let's assume everything happens the way we all now want it to happen. What is the entry into the NFL? So you've left Delta State. You're preparing for some sort of event, correct?
Yes, sir. The pro day is so a lot of guys. Well, I'm not going to say a lot. Many guys get the opportunity to go to the NFL Combine, and that's a dream. Of anybody that plays college football that has aspirations of being a professional football player. You want to be able to go to Indianapolis, be on, ESPN, NFL Network, showcasing your abilities and your talents. Coming from a smaller market school, I went to a Division II school. I just didn't have the exposure, necessary. And I can say, my junior year, I don't think I really, did enough to get on a lot of people's boards so they could see me. And, that's something I can live with. I did it myself. But now it's just preparing for pro day. I'm trying to get in at South Alabama's pro day because I'm a product of the South Alabama region playing at Theodore High School. And if that doesn't work, so be it. I'll just go to Jackson State up there in Mississippi, and I'll do the regional pro day that they have up there for many of the other guys in my situation that didn't go to the bigger market schools and be able to have pro days of their own. Because at Delta State, we're not putting on a pro day.
Tell me what a South Alabama pro day looks like. The day starts at what time?
I couldn't tell you because it's up to the school officials on their own. So up to the athletic director, the head coach, strength coach, the things that they put together on their own. But while I was at the University of Louisiana in 2018, I was able to watch a couple of guys do their pro day, and it started at about 10 a.m. And, you do your height, your weight, the vert, the broad jump, the 225 bench test. They get measurements of your hands, your wingspan, basically everything you see at the NFL Combine. The pro day is the exact same drills, the exact same measurement. They get the exact same measurements and things of that nature. It's just more condensed and more focused on the guys at that school or the guys participating in that pro day.
How many people, when you say pro day, is every professional coach on the field watching you, or is it so the South Alabama Pro Day, who will be there examining your performance?
So it pretty much depends on, and it sounds a little shallow, but it depends on the talent that's at the school. So for instance, if South Alabama has had numerous guys that are getting looks, guys that have opportunities, they have the ability to bring in all 32. Now, if they have, a select few guys, probably, 3 or 4, maybe all 32 won't be there. You might get 16 scouts.
Yeah.
You might get 20 scouts. You might get 6, but you get some eyes on you.
Yeah.
You get scouts from the NFL, the newly combined UFL, the XFL and USFL that merged together, and the CFL, the Canadian League, the AFL, the Arena Football League, the IFL, the Indoor Football League. It's a whole bunch of people that come and just scout. They just want to get your numbers, your measurements, see how you compare to other guys around the country or guys that play international football.
Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
Let's assume everything happens the way you want it to happen. What happens next for you?
Far as
the next step beyond South Alabama into pro football. Similar story, or is it a different story?
Well, what you really asking me? Like,
what do you want to see happen? You're about to start. You're going to walk on, if I understand correctly, at
Yes,
South
sir.
Alabama, and you want to play NFL football. So does that mean you play at South Alabama for 1 year, for 2 years, for 4 years?
well, I don't plan on being at the talent I have and the way Coach D is training me. I don't plan on being in college football no more than 2 years.
2 years.
Yes, sir.
And then after that, you'll go to a combine. You'll go to a pro day, just
Yes,
like
sir.
we're talking about
Yes,
here.
sir. That's the plan. Yes, sir.
And they identify you and say, and does a coach that's at a pro day or a combine walk up to you and say, hey, Chancellor, we like the way you look. We could see a spot for you on our team. And what happens after that? What happens after you get identified as a talent that could fit in the next level?
Well, for one, that's a huge step for me. So just being in person with somebody to tell me the exact thing you just said, it'll really blow my mind. Cause coming from where I'm from, man, that's a huge step, bro.
I recognize that. Timaje, what happens? That guy comes up to you and says, hey, we'd like to talk to you about our organization. Do you have an agent? Do you start touching number? I mean, what happens when that happens?
So most of the communication from guys at the pro level goes through my agent, and my agent is Michael Portner. I signed with him, I think at the end of December for the NFL level. And then I have another agent, Jonathan Wynn. He represents me for the Canadian Football League and the UFL. So any communications that they want to have to me, they go through my agent, and my agent relays the information to me. And if they want to get on the phone, we'll do that. And if they just want to be able to talk to me, they'll usually tell my agent, and my agent will tell me.
So they wouldn't walk up to you on the field that day. They have some document that says he's got an agent. Here's where we start.
From my experiences, that's what I have experiences. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So once you leave the field that day, you don't know whether anybody saw you or not. You have to wait for your phone call from the agent.
Right. Yes, sir.
Oh, man, pins and needles. You don't know how well you did for so long. All right. We'll be back after this break. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston.
This is Seth Cherniak, Vice President of Branch Development for the Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group. If you're an experienced financial advisor wanting the freedom of independence but aren't sure making that jump is right for you, we should talk. Jeffrey Matthews has developed a successful program for advisors who don't want to be 1099 contractors and don't want to pay for their own overhead. We're looking for advisors who want the freedom to run their business the way they see fit, with the support that comes with a W-2 firm. If you're interested in joining one of our branches, or if you want to open your own branch as a full-time employee, let's chat. Our compensation plan is one of the most competitive among all W-2 firms, big or small. Reach out to us today at jeffreymatthews.com, connect with me, Seth Cherniak, on LinkedIn, or click the link in the podcast.
Jeffrey Matthews Financial Group, member FINRA, SIPC. Got a rare in-person interview on What's Working today. No Zoom call today. I'm sitting across from Chancellor Moody. I'm sitting next to Timaje Porter. Actually, I'm sitting across from Timaje next to Chancellor. You don't care. It's a radio show, but I got to get this thing right. And we were talking a little bit, by the way, you're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We were talking a little bit during the break about the moment on the field when the ball snaps, when the action goes on, and what that's like. And I can tell you, you guys know, I've admitted this to you, I was not a great football player. I did not enjoy it all that much. I think getting up off the ground is something you should do seldom versus all the time every day if you're playing football. But Chancellor, when you were playing football in high school and the ball snapped and it was go time, what did that moment feel like to you?
Well, just my height and size and speed, and just knowing the cornerbacks in front of me, I already knew that I pretty much had them beat and everything. So once the ball snapped, I'm waiting for the ball. I'm down the field waiting for the
ball. They never had a chance.
No, sir.
They never had a chance. Timaje, you've told me some interesting things about what happens when that ball snaps.
Usually at the beginning of the play, I'm so cerebral, and not to brag, but I tend to get the play from my defensive coach, and then I like to listen to what the offense is talking about, just hearing the verbiage, the things that's going on, and I can get a good feel of, what's to come. And the moment the ball is snapped, everything just goes, the crowd noise goes away, my teammates' voices, they kind of get intensified, and I can hear, coming to me, or, roll this way, or expected to come this way. And when I make contact, everything is just, it's gone. There's nothing there, just me and the guy. And, depending on what type of block I get, I'll defeat it this way. Depending on what the quarterback or the running back does, I'm expecting something different. And, for 4 to 10 seconds, it's just controlled aggression, but it's something I can't explain unless, the guys that know, you know what I'm saying? So, it's just one of those moments where nothing else matters, nothing else exists but me and what I'm doing and beating this guy, like literally trying to beat him like to a pulp.
Do you have controlled aggression?
Yes, sir.
Both of you, to do what you do well, you've got to have aggression. And you see this on the football field. And when I watch on Sundays and Saturdays is aggression. Do you have trouble generating the aggression, or is the aggression always there and the football field is where it comes out? Chancellor?
Well, in high school, I somewhat had controlled aggression, but just fresh out of high school, man, and taking 3 or 4 years off and just going through life itself, I feel like once I get back on the field, everybody in trouble. It's a lot of going through a lot of life situations, man. It's gonna be hectic.
You need football to take care of what's going on. Yeah. Timaje, what about you? Is aggression a part of who you are?
A lot of people that know me personally, they call me a big teddy bear, actually. I think I'm a pretty nice guy, but I use life's experiences pregame to kind of, get the aggression going, because it's a switch you got to be able to flip. And I just know, like, probably 30 to 40 minutes before the game starts, I'm usually listening to sad music just to bring those thoughts to the forefront, just the environment I grew up in, some of the things I've seen, some of the things I've experienced, just to be able to play pissed off. That's what you want to do. You want to play angry and upset at my position. And that I usually flip that switch, probably 10 minutes before the game. I'll say my prayer. And after that, it's just I see red for the next 3 hours.
No kidding. So 3 hours. And let's say 3 hours and 10 minutes later, the game is now over. You're on the sideline. You're in the locker room. Can you turn the switch off as easily as you can turn it on?
I usually turn it off in between snaps.
No kidding.
There's moments during the game where I'll make a joke to my teammates. We'll be laughing, but in between the white lines, when the ball is snapped, that's when it's just like, okay, this guy isn't the same guy. This isn't Timaje. And I've heard that so many times.
So you go from teddy bear to seeing red to teddy bear to seeing red over and over again throughout the game.
Yeah, I can attest to many of my classmates, teammates, fans, family just saying, we see you on the sideline, you're smiling, you're making jokes, but man, when you're on the field, it's different. And I have my highlight tape. You can see where I'll make a play and my celebration is me beating my chest like an ape.
Yeah.
And then, 2 seconds later, I'm laughing, I'm smiling. You can see pictures of me just doing unthinkable things, with my personality just fluctuating in those 3 hours of the game. It's so different, and I love it.
Chancellor, do you have a hard time turning it off, the aggression?
Unlike Timaje and his very skill set, I wish I had what he had, because I'll play mad the whole game, and probably come about the third quarter, I'm so tired from just giving it up my all to every play, and just not saying he doesn't give his all, but see, he got something I don't have. He could turn it on, turn it off.
So you turn it on and it's on.
Yes, sir.
It's on. So if it's halftime and you're on the sideline, it's still on.
Yes,
and if I were to walk up to you and thump your ear, you're just going to pound me into the ground. You're not going to be the big teddy bear that says, "Hey, man, don't do that."
Oh, nah, I wouldn't pound you, man. I would just look at you and be like, "Hey, bro, I ain't trying to play right now."
I love it. Hey,
yes,
I'm not
sir.
ready to play right now. Timaje, how did you find your agent? How did you two find one another? You've got 2 agents, one for Canada and one for U.S. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
How did you find each other? What's that process like?
So I had a teammate, Donnie Myers, come out of Delta State the year before I came out, and he actually had the opportunity to sign with my current agent, and he decided to go a different route. He actually is from Atlanta, so he had a plethora of agents at his disposal, being from Atlanta and being in that environment. And he's a terrific football player. So it was just a matter of time before he got picked up. And my agent actually reached out to my head coach, and he said he would be interested in talking to me. So my head coach did his thorough research, did background checks just to see, if he was a good guy.
Yeah.
And Michael's a great guy. I love him just like family. He's taking care of me, for the most part up until now. And we just keep everything real, keep everything transparent. And, just throughout the process, throughout the journey, just, him and I continue to build a relationship, just see how far this thing can go.
Who is in your corner, Chancellor? Who's got your back? There's me now.
Yes, sir.
You got Timaje. He's got
Yes,
your
sir.
back. I know you two love to see each other succeed.
Yes, sir.
But there's got to be an army of people who are pulling for you. Give me a sense of who they are.
Well, most importantly, I keep God first. So
Yeah.
I know God's got my back. But my mom, of course, my little brothers, my grandparents, my Uncle Ches, my Coach D, my best friend Maya. It's just them. I got my little cousins and stuff, but they call themselves MTF, more than family.
Oh,
Yes,
love it.
sir.
I'm going to write that down. I'm going to use that. MTF. That's mine.
Yes, sir.
I'll quote you twice and then it's mine. I like that.
Yes, sir.
So who else? Anybody that would surprise me that has found an interest in you and wants you to succeed?
Well, pretty much that's my circle. Just those people I called out right there.
So if you didn't show up for a workout and Coach D was there and he said he's not here, he could call any one of those people and they're going to stop what they're doing and pry you out of bed or whatever it may be and say, you need to get there.
Yes, sir, most definitely.
Yeah. Timaje, who's in your corner? Who's got your back?
Just to piggyback off what he said, first of all, God, he has done unspeakable things for me. He has made, me being able to be in this position. And mostly his family. They never wavered. They never gave up on me throughout my whole journey. It's been a crazy roller coaster ride, just from being one of the top recruits in the country. Actually, I was one of the top 30 coming out of my sophomore year. I was ESPN 300, and them just never giving up on me, even after going to JUCO and Division II. They always had my back, so that's who I lean on the most.
I'm sitting with Timaje Porter. I'm sitting with Chancellor Moody. They both got significant aspirations for the NFL, and they're doing the work, most importantly, to make it happen for them. Gentlemen, you've got me in your corner now. I'm cheering for you. I can't wait to follow you both. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll have a show recap after this break. You're listening to What's Working. I'm Cam Marston. We'll tell you what just happened and what to expect. Be right back.
I'm Joey Mason. For 4 years, my goal has been to produce the best farm-to-table products I'd ever eaten. I've done just that at our on-site USDA facility in Grand Bay, Alabama, allowing us to ship directly to your door. This is true farm-to-table. Visit us at masonhillsfarm.com to see all that we have to offer.
That was fun. I wish those two guys the best. I write commentaries for some radio stations, and this one we're about to play was in 2019, and it has to do with football. Enjoy.
On today's Keeping It Real, Cam Marston remembers his days of playing football in grade school and how happy he is that those days are over.
It's the end of the football season now, and during nearly every broadcast, some former player reminisces about their playing days. Those days were character-building experiences, they say. They talk about how they wish they were out there still playing. Not me. I played football as a kid. I was never very good. TV commentators credit top-tier football players with the word explosive, like a big lineman has explosive power, or a running back has explosive speed. A linebacker delivers hits with explosive impact. Nothing about me has ever been remotely explosive. I don't explode. I never have. It's not in my DNA. I guess I was doomed from the start. I learned that red-faced, spittle-spewing men, often grossly overweight, screaming in my face, aren't motivational. They are, in fact, unmotivational. And I remember telling one such coach during a drill, hey, How about a little perspective? It's just footwork after he spewed forth in my face about something. Well, this led to more spewing and more spittle, this time much closer. And I remember thinking, poor man, I bet he's unhappy. Football taught me that I'm not all that fond of lots of touching with lots of strangers and touching each of them a lot. My job was to smash my body against someone else's, both of us hot and slick with sweat, and continuing this effort indefinitely until I heard a whistle. And as a lineman, I was expected to do this every single play. If I did it well, this other person and I often finished on the ground in a pile in the dirt. Our slick, sweaty bodies commingled in a heap with us breathing heavily on each other. I was then supposed to pop up and do it again. Which leads me to another thing. I don't like getting up off the ground over and over and over again. Outside of football, falling to the ground is generally frowned upon. Playing football, though, if I didn't fall a lot, I was told I wasn't working hard enough. So I would fall, commingled with a sweaty, heavy-breathing stranger, or risk a spittle-spewing tirade from an irrational, red-faced, and obese man who is, perhaps, unhappy. And I was assured that this was fun. Now, slapping friends hard and in the head is generally frowned upon too, and is never celebratory nor congratulatory, unless you make an interception. This happened to me once. The ball somehow landed in my hands, and I had the sense to run it the other way. The whistle blew, and my best friends and favorite people pounded my head repeatedly. I remember thinking, wow, I'll never do that again. Watching football with me today, I'll hoot and holler with the best of them. But if you turn and say, man, wouldn't you love to be out there doing all that again? I'll smile and nod. But inside, no. Good Lord, no. I'm Cam Marston. I'm just trying to keep it real. We'll have another show next week. Have a good week, everybody. As you likely know, this show originates as a radio show broadcast across the state of Alabama, and it continues to grow in both radio listeners and market. After it's formatted for radio, we then turn it into this podcast. Please share it with those you think would find it interesting, and subscribe to the podcast on my YouTube page where you can leave messages and your thoughts and your comments, and I'll certainly get back in touch. Finally, if you're a fan of the show, please offer a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find my book called What Works on Amazon.com. In it, I highlight the top 10 ideas from the first 200 episodes of the show. Mind you, they're not the top 10 best episodes, they're the top 10 best ideas. Many times the same ideas are brought up again and again by different guests, and we dig into those ideas in such a way that they'll be easily applicable for your business. Simply go to Amazon and enter my name, and you'll find What Works as well as my other books. Chapter titles include How to Find a Niche, Innovation, Building Teams, and so forth. To learn more about the workshops and seminars I offer, go to cammarston.com. There you can view clips of my work, view workshop titles, view my reviews, case studies, customer lists. It's all there. If you'd like a free copy of one of the chapters of my book, enter your email address at the bottom of the homepage at cammarston.com. And from that site, you can email me directly. I always love to hear from you. You'll also find me on social media. Find Cam Marston on all the social media platforms, and you may need to enter the numeral 1. There's one other Cam Marston out there, and that numeral 1 distinguishes me from him from time to time. So if you're unsure if it's me or not, enter that numeral 1 after my name, and it should do the trick. On a more personal and less professional side, I record weekly commentaries that air across Alabama on Alabama Public Radio twice each day on Fridays called Keeping It Real. They've won statewide and national awards. They're simple observations on the world as it goes on around me, and they're only a few minutes long. They're a passion. You can find them on the same podcast app you're using to listen to this. Finally, if you're interested in advertising on this podcast or the radio show, reach out. I've worked hard to cultivate a specific listener, and I can tell you all about them, and I have many different options for helping you reach them. Thanks again for listening. We'll have another episode available soon.